Good morning Year 8 and welcome to today's maths lesson. I'm going to start us off with a quick starter. Can you please find for me 50% of 120? Can you find half of 12? And can you expand for me 3 lots of x take away 2? Please pause the video for a minute or two and in your light blue books have a go at those questions for me. Okay, 50% of 120, 50% is the same as 50 out of 100, because we know percent means out of 100. That's the same as a half. So I'm trying to find a half of 120, which is 120 divided by 2, which will give me 60. Question 2, I asked you to find half of 12, so this time we're doing 12 divided by 2, which will give us 6. And finally I asked us to do a bit of algebra. I got to expand 3 lots of x take away 2. I'm going to start by drawing my grid because my grid helps me a lot. I've got x minus 2 along the top. And I've got 3 along the side. Emily, what's 3 times x? 3x, thank you. And 3 times negative 2 gives me negative 6. So I'm looking at 3x take away 6. Okay, let's dive into today's lesson. Quick recap for you. If I've got 200 and I want to find 100% of it, that's going to be 200, that means all of it. To find 50%, we need to divide by 2, which gives me 100. To find 25%, I divide by 2 again, or divide 200 by 4, which gives me 50. To find 5%, I'm dividing by 10 to give me 10. To find 10%, I'm dividing my 200 by 10 to give me 20. I divide it by 10 again to give me 1%, and I multiply it by 2 to give me 20%, which would be 40. I'm going to use all these bits of 200 to find 23% of 200. I've got 20% plus 3% will give me 23%. We know that 20% is 40. And 3% is just 3 times 1%, which gives me 6. So 23% of 200 gives me 46. Over to you. In your light blue books, can you please have a go at these questions for me? Using the diagram at the top to find 100%, 50%, 25% of 450, can you, in your light blue books, find 64%? And what percentage of 450 is 103.5? Everyone answer question 1. If you're confident, have a go at question 2. Pause the video for a couple of minutes and have a think. Okay, Year 8, this should have been your answer. You should have found 100% was 450, 225 was 50%, 112.5 was 25%, 22.5 was 5%, 45 was 10%, 90 was 20%, 4.5 gave you 1%. You could then add together 45 times 6 plus 4.5 times 4 to give you 288. And if you worked out what percentage of 450 is 103.5, you'd have got 23%. Well done if you got that right. Okay, Year 8, in your light blue books, can you pause the video for approximately 10 minutes and have a go at filling out as much of this table as you can without a calculator? Pause the video now and in 10 minutes I'll go through some answers. Okay, these are the answers you should have got, Year 8. Please check your work and see how you did. Okie dokie, today we are going to be looking at increasing and decreasing by percentages. You obviously don't have a mini whiteboard, so feel free to do this in your light blue books. I've got a bar, and this bar is going to represent 100%. Can you draw this bar exactly like that in your light blue books? And above it, can you show me a bar with an increase of 10%? And below it, can you show me a bar with a decrease of 10%? Pause the video for a couple of minutes. In your light blue books, have a go at that now. Okay, this is what our bar should have looked like. The increase, we should have added on an extra 10%, which gave us 110% along the top. And a decrease of 10% would have given us 90%, so a shorter bar along the bottom. Can you now pause the video and in exactly the same way, can you show me what the bar would look like with an increase and a decrease of 20%? Draw it in exactly the same way, draw the 100% bar. what would an increase of 20% and what would a decrease of 20% look like? Okay, and here's the answer. We should have got the 100% bar looks the same. This time we've got 120 along the top, so we've increased by 20, and 80 along the bottom. Okay, one more question for you. Pause the video, and in your light blue books, can you do the same diagram showing an increase and a decrease of 15% for me? Pause the video and do that now. Splendid, so this should have been our answer. We should have got 115% for the increase and 85% for the decrease. In your dark blue books, can you please write the title Increase, Decrease by a Percentage? And you know how this works. I'm going to go through an example and you're going to go through an example. So when you've got the title down, can you please put your pens down and watch me for the first example. I need to increase 40 by 10%. Let's see what that's going to look like in terms of a bar. I've got my bar for 100% and we know that's 40. To increase it by 10%, I need my 100% plus an extra 10% on the end. So 100% is 40. To work out 10% of 40, we're just dividing it by 10, which will give us 4. So this little bit of the bar here is 4 along. The 100% part of the bar is 40 along. So to increase 40 by 10%, I add together 40 and 4, which will give me 44. Over to you. In your light blue books, can you please have a go at this one for me? Increase 90 by 10%. Pause the video, spend a couple of minutes doing that now. Okay, alright, the answer I should have been looking for. Here's my bar model. 100% this time is 90. I'm increasing by 10% in exactly the same way. So here's my 100%. I'm adding on an extra 10%, which is here. This time my 10% is going to be 9. So this little section I'm adding on here is 9. The original section here was 90. So altogether I've got 90 plus 9, which gives me 99. Okay, your 8 pens down. I'm going to go through an example, then you're going to go through an example. This time I'm increasing 40 by 15%, so my bar looks the same. Here's my 100%. This time I'm adding on 15%. We know that 10% was 4. We know that 5% is half of that, which is 2. So 15% is going to be 6, adding together 4 and 2. So this little bit here is 6. The original bit we started with was 40. So my final answer this time is 46. In your dark blue books, can you please now have a go at this example for me? Can you increase 90 by 15%? Draw the bar model, it's going to help you out. Pause the video for a couple of minutes and do that now. Okay, I'm going to go through it. Here's my bar, 100%. This time I'm adding on 15%. Starting off with 100%. 100% of 90 is, of course, just 90. This time, 10% is going to be 9. So 5% is going to be 4.5. Which means, Joseph, that 15% is going to be what? Thanks very much. 13.5. This time I'm tacking that 13.5 on the end of my 90. So altogether I've got 103.5. And that's my answer. Please make sure you've got this written down in your dark blue book, including the bar model to help you out. And then can you switch to your light blue books for me? Pause the video for about 15 minutes and have a go at these questions for me in your light blue books. Pause the video and complete those now. Okay, you're right, these are the answers. Please check how you did. Okay, we're going to look at decreasing by a percentage. So this time I've got 100%, and if I decrease by 10%, what percentage am I going to be left with, Alicia? Great, 90%. So 10% of 40 was 4. This time I've started with 40 as my 100% and I've taken away that little section. So I need to do 40, take away 4, which will give me 36. Over to you. In your dark blue books, can you please have a go at this example for me, drawing the bar model? Pause the video for a minute and have a go. Okay, let's go through the answer. This time I've taken away 10% again to give me 90%. 10% of 90 is 9. I need 90%, so I need to do 100%, take away 10%, which is going to be 90 take away 9, which gives me 81. Please make sure you've got this example written in your dark blue books for me. Okay, I'm going to go through one more example with you. This time I'm decreasing 40 by 35%. So I'm going to get a much shorter bar on the bottom. How much is this bar going to be worth if I'm decreasing by 35% this time, Bradley? Cool, 65. Because this time I'm doing 100%, take away 35%. So, I know that 10% was 4, I know that 5% was 2, so 35% is going to be 3 times 4, which is 12, plus 2, which is 14. So this section here that I've taken away is 14. 40, take away 14, gives me my final answer, which is what, Logan? 26. Fantastic. Over to you. In your dark blue books, please have a go at this example for me in exactly the same way. Pause the video for a couple of minutes and do that now. Okay, I'm going to go through the answer. So again, we're decreasing by 35%, which leaves us with 65% left. 100% take away 35% gives us 65. I know that 10% is 9. I know that 5% is 4.5. So 35% is going to be 3 times 9, which is 27, plus the 5%, which will give me 31.5. This time I'm decreasing that from 90, so I need to do 90, take away 31.5, which gives me what, Lily May? Lovely. 58.5. And that's my final answer. In your light blue books, Year 8, can you please now have a go at these questions? The green are a little bit easier, the red are a little bit harder. Pause the video for 10 minutes and have a go at those questions now. Okay, Year 8, here are the answers. Please check how you did. For those that are super confident, can you please now have a go at this extension code breaker for me? Answer the percentage change questions, link the answers to the table above to reveal what I thought of the documentary I watched on shipbuilding. Each of these answers will give you a letter and it will answer this hilarious joke. And the joke was, it was riveting. Final part of this lesson, can you please now have a go at these exam questions I've selected for me? In your light blue books, pause the video for 5 minutes and finish these off. Okay, here are the answers. I was looking for 8.4, 4.2 and 2.5. For B, you should have got 98.7. And for the price of the coat, you should have got 55.25. That's the end of today's lesson. Can you now please have a go at the exit ticket that I've posted on Google Classroom? Have a lovely day, Year 8, and thank you very much.